And away we go. It is the nightcap. It is, I think, Tuesday, August 16th. I'm not sure because it's camp season and I have no idea what day it is. But I think that's right. If it's not, oh well, we'll roll with it. This is the Nightcap, brought to you as always by Galactic Fried Chicken. Visit www.galacticfriedchicken.com. Download the app for Android, iPhone, everything Galactic. Get yourself some delivery or stop down in Dayton, Kentucky. Tell them to pump it up. Save yourself 15% off of your order. All right, so right now, Aaron Smith is recording the Pardon the Punctuation podcast. And I got to get this show done. I got to get up in the morning and get out to Camp Higher Ground. So I thought, why not reach into our bag of goodies and invite none other than our good friend Justin Williams to join us for this podcast. Justin and I have been at every open practice, pretty much every minute of open practice. Justin gets there a little after calisthenics. I get there a little before calisthenics. He's got 3 kids. I've only got 1.
I do my own calisthenics.
You do them in the car.
That's right.
Some people do pull-ups when they get to camp every day. Some of us just show up ready to go. Although, I got yelled at yesterday.
Yeah, you did.
Practice.
He caught you yawning.
Come on, man. Justin and I were having a conversation with an old friend before we walked into the dining hall, and Luke Fickle was walking back to his barracks, his palatial estate at Camp Higher Ground, and he started screaming at me for a yawn.
He was on Monday.
He was on Monday.
He definitely made note of it. Whenever at whatever random point in the practice he caught you, he was like, "I'm marking this one down."
I didn't sleep well Sunday night into Monday. Like that happens sometimes, and then you just get up and you go out there. I was a little tired. I told him I'm mentally weak. Like, if I'm tired, I'm going to yawn. I'm sorry. He told me I needed to pick up my intensity.
Hey,
and I said,
the way you do anything is the way you do everything. That's what I
always say. He will never, ever, ever miss an opportunity to take a shot at one of the two of us.
This is true.
Which I think means he likes us.
Or likes taking shots at us.
Yeah, one of the two, maybe both. I wanted to have Justin on tonight to have maybe a little bit different discussion than everyone is having about camp. Everyone wants to talk about quarterback. I think Justin and I are in a similar place. I think Evan Prater has had a good camp. I think Ben Bryant takes the first snap at Arkansas on September 3rd. I think you're in that same spot, right?
Yeah, I think something drastic would have to change between now and September 3rd for that to not be the case.
Ben has been the most consistent. Evan has had great flashes. But like when we saw yesterday, they were doing all-out blitz practice. Not like send 4, send 5, like right. Send 7, cover 0, we're coming after your ass. Ben handled it better than it, I thought. And I think it's little things like that. He talks about we weigh everything. We keep tabs on everything. So I think we're on the same page on the quarterback. Running back, I have no clue at this point. I don't think you do either.
I don't think they do.
I don't think they do.
I think they know what they would like it to be. I think they maybe know what it'll eventually be. But, with some injuries and guys not going full to start practice, I think they're still trying to figure out exactly. I think they feel good with all those 4 top guys.
Like all 4 of the top guys.
Yeah, I just don't think they know exactly to start the year how that rotation's gonna, balance out so far.
That story is like I end every post on Bearcat Journal. ... We don't have an answer to that yet. I think they're very happy at wide receiver. I do think there is a competition at wide receiver that is fascinating because Trey Tucker is going to be your slot guy. Tyler Scott is going to be your field guy. I don't think they have the final answer at boundary. And as we're watching camp, Justin, when you look between Chris Scott, Nick Mardner, Jaden Thompson, I don't think there is an answer. I think it is we're going to roll with these three guys because they all provide something different, and they all are guys that can make a huge difference in the passing game. I don't know that this is we're going to pick a boundary wide receiver. Do you?
No, I don't think so. I think, we saw it. I can't remember if it was Monday or when, but we've seen him kind of move Jaden around a little bit. And I think
Yeah, he can play field.
Yeah.
Like he's got the versatility on, and I think Chris Scott probably does a little bit as well.
Yeah.
We've seen less of that from him.
3-year guys going into year 3.
Well, and Mardner's a boundary guy.
Yeah.
Mardner's 6'6", winning the jump ball. He's faster than he looks because of the long strides. But I don't think that's a bad thing. To have a 3-headed monster at boundary wide receiver that all can do different things and I don't think there's a huge separation in talent between them. Do you?
No, and to me, Chris Scott's the one that, like, I think coming into camp, I felt like it was kind of a top 4, like Trey, Tyler, Jaden, and Mardner.
Yeah.
And I thought those 4 were going to get the most of your snaps. So to me, I think like what that says that there's 3 of them now there. I think it says a lot about the camp Chris Scott has had and the offseason he's had. He's a playmaker, right? Like he also shows up in every digital media clip they put out. But aside from that, like he is doing it on the field. Yeah, I mean, Trey Tucker says he has the best hands on the team, but he's just like, he's a guy that finds a way to make a play. It's like maybe he's not the fastest guy, yet he's still beating guys over the top, or maybe he's not the shiftiest guy, but he's still finding space when he makes a catch. So to me, that's what kind of jumps out about that storyline is like maybe they have kind of one more guy that they can really trust and see as a starter than I thought they might have had coming into it.
I did not on my notebook have second team nose tackle at the top of my board for things that we were going to be really zeroing in on in this camp. But I think Dominique Perry has been good. But I think Dante Corleone has been borderline great. Like, he has had a camp.
Yeah.
A camp. And they've talked about, we have to find somebody that is the Marcus Brown to the Curtis Brooks that they expect from Jaquan Briggs.
Right.
Dante Corleone has said, hey, I'm here for that job.
Yeah,
and now
it felt like,
does Perry hold him off is kind of the question.
Yeah, it felt coming into camp like they were like, Damo's made some big strides.
Yeah.
He's going to play, but it's going to be tough to keep Dante off the field too. It almost feels like that's flipped, right?
Yeah.
Like now it's like it's going to be tough to keep Damo off the field because he's had a good camp. He's had a really good offseason, but it feels like more and more, I think you feel the same way in camp. It's kind of tough because they're working on situational things,
sure.
And there's some knowledge on both sides of what's happening. So you kind of have to judge it off of like who's flashing to you out there. Like to me, Mardner has just flashed a lot more than I expected. Like that's why he's right in the thick of that. And I feel like
Chris Scott and so is Jaden Thompson.
Yeah. Like all of them have flashed and made plays.
Right.
But that's kind of what you're looking for is like what looks different. And Dante Corleone is a guy who, like, when you see a play made, then it's him kind of like waddling back away from the play, or why did that offensive line collapse as well? It's Dante waddling back away from it. Like he's one of those guys who just seems to keep popping up and making plays.
The thing with Dante is you can't move him, and you're talking about Gavin Gerhardt and Jake Renfro, guys that can move people, and Gerhardt has said it. Renfro has said it to us. Like, Renfro's problem with Briggs is sometimes Briggs will get him and just take him for a ride.
Right.
But every time when he goes up against Corleone, he just doesn't move.
Right.
He doesn't go anywhere. You hit him as hard as you can, and he's like, come on.
Yeah, he's not always like, he's not necessarily going to be that Curtis Brooks, like, quick move you
in the backfield, right?
And that's kind of what Briggs can do too. Like Briggs is really strong, but he has a little bit of speed. Dante, I mean, he's gonna make plays in the backfield, but it's not gonna be like zipping past guys. It's just gonna be they can't move him, and then he shoves them back. Like his strength is his superpower, and that's what we've seen, I think, so far in camp.
It's been awesome. It's been so much fun to watch those two guys. Like, we even felt Perry, like, at one point was kind of getting frustrated. Like, crap. Like, this guy's doing some things. But then I think Perry has answered. So I think that's been
it's
been one of the more fun battles.
They've done a couple, when they go with that second team line, they've given a few 4-down looks, and they put Perry and Dante in there together, and like, other. I mean, that's a beefy second team, 4-man front. But no, I'm totally with you. He's such a fun person to just look at. Like we've talked about, he kind of looks like a cartoon character, Dante.
You have deemed him the love child of Bebop and Rocksteady
affectionately deemed him that. Yes,
that's what he looks like. That's what he looks like.
The kid's a ball player too.
Yeah, he's fantastic. Boundary safety. This is another one. Hasn't gotten a ton of talk, but I think again, Brian Threats is probably the favorite to win the job. But I don't have any, I don't recall taking any notes that Jacob Dingle wasn't doing exactly what he was supposed to do as well. And Colin Hitchler, do exactly what we ask you to do, and we're going to love you. That's a fun battle. Armorion Smith is that fourth safety. Probably is Javon Hicks backup, but maybe could play some boundary as well. With I didn't realize. I think here's the thing I'll say about Armorion. He's been a revelation at camp.
Yes,
in many ways.
From day one. But he had a really strong into the spring. I'm seeing more from him than I thought he had in his bag in terms of range, the ability to, if you're going to play that field safety, you've got to be able to get out and make a play down the field that's over the top of you. We've seen him do that. I think safety, I said this last night, I think with Aaron, safety depth has been a concern for the past 3 years. Now, all of a sudden, Ethan Wright's been really good, Justin. Yeah.
Isaiah Cox is
made a couple plays.
Now there's 6-7 safeties that you're looking at and going, we know who the starter is. We know who the two guys opposite that are. But that safety room looks vastly different than it did in the spring.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Armorion Smith, he's another one where it's he's flashed. You notice him when he's on the field. And I think that's important. And you're right. He traveled with the team last year as a true freshman. Didn't play a ton, but that's a big deal as a true freshman. If you're going on the road trips, you're dressing for games. And I think what you said about he probably could get in and play some boundary if they need him to. I think that's the benefit of him being on the road and being around, even more than some of those other guys in his class last year. Threats, he's a stereotypical try-hard guy in this program. He's going to make that try-hard board. They love how hard he goes. Dingle, you're right. A big thing at that boundary safety is you can't screw up, because the way that position is built into the defense, if you screw up, you're probably gonna you're probably gonna get.
We saw it in the blitz period on a couple plays yesterday.
Yeah, and we've seen it the rare times when it hasn't been Wiggins or Cook on the field the past couple of years, which has not been very much, but we've seen sometimes it's susceptible to it. So that's another reason why I think Dingle's always going to have a role, because Colin Hitchler, Kerry Combs, Fickle, they know if you're in the game, maybe you're not as much of a playmaker as some of those other guys, but you're also not going to put us in a spot where everyone's turned around looking and it's going over your head.
Right. I think Threats wins that job.
But I think that's another one where I do even if Threats win, I think Dingle's going to play. I think Armorion might play. It's not going to be just Cook and Hicks every play or Forrest and Wiggins every play. I think you're right. Threats is probably going to be maybe the first guy out there, but at some point in the game in Arkansas, when Dingle's on the field, people shouldn't freak out and think somebody got hurt.
Right. And we saw maybe Threats get, I don't want to say exposed, but they put him up in a lot of situations on Monday against Josh Wiley. And as you would expect, he struggled to guard Josh Wiley.
Yeah, I mean, there's a difference between Threats and Brian Cook. And even Threats and Wiggins. Wiggins wasn't a big guy, but he was just
A freak.
a freak. Yeah. So if you go against, that position, you have to do a lot of man coverage. And if you're going against a team, not a lot of teams have Josh Wiley and Lenny Taylor, honestly.
Yeah.
But if you go against a team that has that, it'll be interesting to see how he does.
Let's go corner. Jaquan Sheppard has remained the incumbent at boundary corner through Monday. We keep waiting to see JQ Hardaway take more of those snaps. I will say, Jaquan Sheppard has had a really good second half of camp so far.
I thought Monday was his best
Monday
practice
was his
that
best
we've
day.
seen.
I thought he was good at the scrimmage too. Like I thought in the beginning of camp he got picked on. We both thought the first 4 or 5 days of camp it was like,
Yeah.
JQ is still making the plays that we saw him make at the beginning of camp. Jaquan Sheppard just now is kind of matching that level to say, I'm not just going to give it to you. But, man, it's hard not to watch practice. It's hard. It's hard, Justin. It's hard. It's hard not to watch practice and just have 1 or 2 times a day the two of us just kind of look at each other like JQ just did that again.
Yeah.
The sack he had off the corner blitz yesterday, the pick he had down the sidelines. That was the most ho-hum interception I've seen in a long time. Like it was the jump ball down the sidelines, and JQ was just like, that was mine. Like he was a wide receiver.
He does that. There was the one last week in they were doing red zone or goal line.
Yeah.
And I thought he was gonna fall backwards. And instead he jumped up and picked it off. And it's like every practice he's making 2 or 3 plays where you just sometimes it's against the 2s, but sometimes it's against the 1s, and you're just like, man, how are they gonna keep this guy off the field?
I don't know how they can. It would be one thing, it would be like Quincy Burrows. Quincy Burrows, the first 5 days of camp was amazing. And now he's just been good, right? He's had his ups and downs. He's had a couple drops. They haven't targeted him as much. He's still made plays, but he wasn't this firework that we saw in the first couple days of camp.
Right.
JQ has just continued to be. He's like the bridge waterfall in the WEBN fireworks, right? It just keeps coming. It lights up the whole sky, and it just goes for what feels like an infinity.
Well, the other difference between
that, but
it's your radio background. The other difference with Burrows is a lot tougher for him to get on the field with that wide receiver group.
He's way down the line.
They need JQ. Everyone was saying all offseason, man, it'd be great if JQ was was ready. If he proved to be, we know he's going to be a dude eventually, but if he's ready to be that right away, that'll be great. I don't. It looks to me like he's ready to be that right away. I get throwing him out there against Arkansas right away, week 1, true freshman is tough. But what do I say to you? What if he makes a game-changing play because they had the guts to put him out there? And he could do that.
Final thing, kicker. Ryan Coe has been, I think there's been 5 days really that they've focused on kicking. Maybe 6, but thank God Brian Mason's not around anymore. Hi, Mace, if you're watching. In the 3 days that Ryan Coe has been good, I think he's 14 of 16. And in the 2 days he's been not so good, it's 6, 7, 8 of 17. He's been right around 500 in those 2 days. He hasn't been good. It's been 90% in the days that he has been good. Where is your level of let's see where this thing goes?
Are you asking, is this a bad movie twin situation?
Maybe.
Brian Coe is not a very good kicker, but
Ryan Coe, his twin Ryan is very good. His brother Ryan, Brian sometimes shows up and stuffs him in a locker.
All right, we'll have to figure out why Brian has to be around. We'll have to figure out what the storyline is, but that might explain it. Because I don't know. And you say 14 for 16, whatever it is, he's blasting him over the tower
On the
that's behind
days
the
he's been
uprights.
good, he's been incredible.
And it was like, it was funny. It was like that in spring ball. It was when he was in the bubble when he would seem to struggle.
Yeah.
And the bubble's a little bit, you're not kicking into a normal upright the way the bubble's set up. So we could almost like explain it away, like, well, maybe outdoors he's just more comfortable. But yeah, I honestly don't have an explanation. If you talk to people, they're like, oh, he's great. Like he's, he has good confidence. It's not like shattered confidence situation when he has a bad day. He's back in the film room figuring out what he did wrong. But they've said that, and then he's had another of those bad days after that. So I'm not smart enough to understand why it's like that.
I don't think anybody is.
The question is, like, we know Luke Fickell will not hesitate to go for it 4th and 7 from the 30-yard line if he doesn't trust his kicker, because we saw it a lot. Will he trust Ryan Coe? If they need a big, if they need some points against Arkansas, is he going to be willing to put him out there in a tough situation? Or, in October against UCF or whatever, like, what is his level of trust? I'm interested to see.
It's all about trust with Luke Fickell. If you yawn at practice, you lose trust. Just is what it is. What can I say? All right, man. I know you got a lot going on. You probably got some dishes to do.
A little bit.
Just a little bit? Like, how's the load on dishes at this point?
So we're like heavy
into load management.
Heavy into the bottles.
Okay, yeah.
So that's like my nightly thing, because so you
got to have those ready in the morning, yeah.
Exactly. So try and you do the rest of the dishes as you can throughout the evening, maybe a little after dinner and stuff like that. But I got a big bucket of bottles up there waiting for me.
All right. Well, what can they find at The Athletic? I know most everybody watching this is already a member. If you're not, get your ass to The Athletic and read what Justin is writing. He does a great job recapping what I say every day, once a week.
That's right. For people that don't want to listen to all this. No, I believe Wednesday morning, probably as you and I are driving out to West Harrison, there should be a story on Ivan Pace Jr. up on The Athletic that people can check out.
Fascinating. He's so interesting. We'll get more into that as we get closer to the season. That's an interesting dude. He's Justin Williams. You can find him at Williams_Justin on Twitter. Are you going to monetize? Like, are you gonna let people pay you for the the
super follow?
Super follow?
I don't think so. What about you?
Oh yeah. If I can make money, I'm gonna fucking do it. Like, I'm a sellout. There's never been any question about that.
See, I'm I'm technically a New York Times employee now, so there's probably some rule where
they're gonna want to cut.
That's right.
They're gonna want to cut. You're absolutely right. I'll see you out at Higher Ground tomorrow. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. We'll see Aaron tomorrow night. This is the Nightcap, brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken, right here on BearcatJournal.com.